Okay, Parshas Yisroi, Kabbalah Satira. Exciting, lots of excitement. Let's go into a simple pasuk, which is really the precursor to the entire Kabbalah Satira. We're in the third month as the fourth Aliyah begins. Klal Yisrael left Mitzrayim, v'yisru merfidim, v'yavo'u midbar Sinai. V'yachnu ba'midbar, v'yichan sham Yisrael, famously neged ahar, and Klal Yisrael encamps there. Says the pasuk, U'maisha Allah el ha'elikim. Moshe Rabbeinu goes up to Hashem, v'yikra ilav Hashem in a heart. Hashem calls out to him from the mountain, Leimar, saying, Kaisoymar lebeis Yaakov. So shall you say to the house of Yaakov, V'sagid lebnei Yisrael. And this pasuk, for a few moments, we'd like to dissect, and we'd like to bring out a medrash, a Rabbeinu Bachayai, and a Arachayim HaKadosh. And hopefully, we'll all tie it together with a few beautiful lessons. And it's all that more poignant when we realize this is the precursor to Kabbalah Satira. This is the moment. Moshe is going up to Shemayim. Hashem is calling to him. And Hashem is talking to him, and he's telling him that we're the Mamlechas Kayanim v'Goy Kadosh. And Moshe Rabbeinu is going to come down, and he's going to call the Zakinim, and everyone's going to get all ready. And the clouds are going to part, and it's going to darken. And then we're going to have the incredible revelation, Anoichi, V'layiyalecha, etc., etc. But when we look at this pasuk for a quick moment, says the Arachayim HaKadosh, we should be bothered. Let's read the pasuk one more time, a drop slower. O Moshe Allah el ha'elikim. And Moshe goes up to Hashem, Vayikra ilav Hashem min ahar. And Hashem calls out to him from the mountain, Lamar. 1 second. Shouldn't first Hashem call out and then Moshe goes up? What's going on here? Moshe just goes up and then Hashem calls out? Question of the Arachayim. Arachayim's also bothered. Moshe Allah, where did he go up? Because Hashem is calling min ahar for the mountain. Sounds like Moshe's not in the mountain. But where did Moshe go? Second question of the Arachayim. And finally, what does the end of the pasuk mean? You should tell those in the house of Yaakov and Sagid lebnei Yisrael. So who's Beis Yaakov and who's Bnei Yisrael? Let's start with that. Says the Medrash quoted by the Rabbeinu Bachai over here. Rashi quotes the same. Who is Hashem talking to? Who does Hashem tell Moshe Rabbeinu to talk to? Who comes first? Beis Yaakov. Who's Beis Yaakov? Says Rashi, says the Medrash, this is the woman. Elu Hanashim. These are the women. Koi Soimar. What does Koi Soimar mean? Says Rabbeinu Bachai b'Lashon HaKodesh. You know what Koi Soimar means? Binachas. You have to talk to a woman gently. Vitziva, I'm going to read a few lines. L'daber el Hanashim Techila. Hashem tells Moshe Rabbeinu, first call the woman. Again, this is Kabbalah Satira. This is the greatest revelation. We're about to receive the Torah, and if you think about it for a moment, the men are, of course, those that have the mitzvah of Talmud Torah. And yet, who do we talk to first? Who is Moshe told to gather and speak to first? The Beis Yaakov. And how do you talk to them? You talk to them easily, nicely. Says Rabbeinu Bachai, this teaches us teach you Musar. And furthermore, that's pshat number one. You talk nicely to the woman. Va'oid, pshat number two, and this is an integral lesson that every woman must hear. Kedei lahamshich libon el hatayra v'hamitzvos. V'leimem rashi prakim. That women have to also hear the mitzvahs. She'ein daitim yusheves kanashim. So they have to hear it in a calmer way. That's not the point that they need to hear. They need to hear that also. But it's the next line. Va'oid, says Rabbeinu Bachai, sheha isha hatayva. What's a good woman? Isha Taiva. He's Siba La Torah. She is the Siba. What's the Siba? The foundation, the base, the impetus, the reason. What is the reason? What is the fuel of the Torah? That's the woman. She Yechoyle Lahamshich Espinal LeBeis HaMedrash. She could draw her child to Beis Medrash. She's home. And she has mercy and compassion towards her child. With all different types of longings. To draw him when he's young and when he's old. Therefore, Says Rabbeinu Bachaya, this is why a woman davens by halakha saner shel Shabbos. She mitzvah mutelas aleh, that what? Hashem should give her banim ubanais banim meirim b'Torah ki tefila yoser nishmas b'shas asiyas mitzvah. What a powerful Rabbeinu Bachaya. When you do a mitzvah, that's when the tefillah zeros. Ubeschus ner Shabbos you are tiske lebanim balei Torah. Hanikra ar shenemar kiner mitzvah v'Torah ar. Absolutely beautiful quotes the Gemara in Shabbos. One who wants to have good kids should be ragel b'ner banav talmidei chacham. And of course, we all know kiner mitzvah v'Torah ar. We all know that the woman, it's not just the children, it's also the husbands. With what does a woman get a schus? With what does she come to the next world? Kiner mitzvah v'Torah ar. Says Rav Yitzchak Isaac Chavar, an absolutely beautiful pshat. What's a ner and what's an ar? An ner is the receptacle. The Torah is the ar, is the flame on top. The kiner mitzvah, the mitzvahs are the ner, and the Torah is the ar. So asks the Gemara, with what does woman come to the next world? What's the question? Doesn't she have mitzvahs? Doesn't she have incredible things to do? What happened to challah and ida and tznius? What about all the halachas she needs to know? What about everything else? Says the guy's a cover, but she's missing the R. She's missing the R atayra. That's what's going to bring her to the next world. And how does she get that? Says Rabbeinu Bachaya, Yaakov, tell them gently, you know how? Because they get the kids to go learn Torah. And the Medrash says even more, says the Gemara, not just the kids, but she gets her husband to go learn Torah. And we all know, and every man knows, as much as, yes, it's important that he needs to want to learn, and needs to find the right shir and the right chavrusa and the right limud. But without the correct accomplice at home, a partner in crime, it just doesn't work. And she gets all that schar. I think they quote from Chaim Kanievsky that in a way she gets more schar. Because whether the husband learns or not, she gets schar. Because what was her schar? Her schar was encouraging him to go to learn. So he went to learn. Maybe he went to Beis Medrash, and maybe he was the guy that just sat there and schmoozed and went out for a coffee break, and maybe too many smoking breaks, and then for another coffee break, and she still got mitzvah. Why? Because she brought him to Beis Medrash. The Gemara says also she waits for him late at night at home when he comes home from Beis Medrash. So that's lesson number one, a precursor. Kabbalah Satira. The Siba, incredible words. What is the Siba? What is the foundation? What is the impetus of all of Torah? It is the loyal wife and mother standing there, holding the household, encouraging the husband and the children to go learn in the most appropriate fashion. Lesson number one, absolutely incredible. Which for the men to hear is, when the woman is encouraging, don't get upset at her. Sometimes the woman tries to encourage in the nicest way possible. Yeah, you could go to share. Are you telling me to go learn? Oh, you go learn. What are you telling me to go learn? Husband gets all defensive. Oh, you're my mashgiach. You're getting me out of bed in the morning. What do you mean? You try to go daven every day with a minion. You try to learn Gemara. You know how hard Gemara is. Well, what'd she do wrong? She's just Kaiser Beis Yaakov. She's trying to do the right thing. She's trying to be the impetus to Torah. She's trying to be the loving and supportive Rebbetzin. So sometimes, yes, we have our own issues and our own traumas and our own mistakes and our own problems. But don't take it out on her because she's trying to do the right thing. That is lesson number one. But let's go drop deeper into the words of the Heilige Ohr HaChaim HaKadosh. So Ohr HaChaim HaKadosh was bothered. What is Moshe going up to the mountain and then Hashem calling him? Says Ohr HaChaim, you know what's going on over here? That Moshe went up without being called. When Moshe Rabbeinu was originally met to Kadosh Baruch Hu, where? By the burning bush. Hashem said to Moshe that you know what's going to happen after you kick out Ba'itziachas Am Yisrael, Tavdun es Elokim ala Har Hazeh. He was shown Har Sinai. He was shown Har Sinai. So you know what happened when he came to Har Sinai? Moshe didn't wait for Hashem to be called. He on his own went up to Har Sinai. And then Hashem started talking to him. Beautiful. Says the Ohr HaChaim, what's the lesson? What's the lesson? Without seeing it inside, let's just articulate in our own words. We know what Har Sinai is. We know what the Torah is. We know what we're supposed to do. But you know, we sit there, we say, when Hashem calls me, I'll come. When I get that call, when I see the nace, when I see this, when I know, yeah, Hashem, I'm waiting. Just give me the invitation, exactly. I'll be there. Says Hashem, no. Moshe, Allah, Elohim, you go up to Hashem. And then, you know what happens? You know what happens when someone says, you know what, it's difficult, it's hard, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to take in another Seder Alimut. I'm going to do it. That's it. I'm making a commitment. One Mishnah a day. How, what, where, when, I don't know. That's a Moshe, Allah, Elohim. What does Hashem do? Vayikra Elov Hashem. Hashem calls out to you. When you go, says Darachayim, he quotes the words of the Hilig Zayir HaKadosh. B'tara'usa de l'sata, Isra'usa de la'ila. V'usayid amra v'idyalim in aretz, that the mist comes up from the ground and it waters it. He says, what does that mean? He means that Vayikra is Lashon Yakar U'Gedula, that when you go and you take that step from underneath here, Hashem showers down upon you, and Hashem calls to you, and Hashem brings you and gathers you up. Says the Orach Chaim, that is the most incredible lesson that we have to learn over here. That when we come to the mountain, and we know where the mountain is, and we know where our Sinai is, and we know what we're supposed to do, but unfortunately we sit there and we wait for Hashem to call us. Says the Orach Chaim, no, you take the first step. But what we have to realize, and I think this is the problem that we all have, because we want to take the first step. But you know what the problem is? We're nervous. Are we going to be successful? Are we going to make it there? The answer is, well, first of all, we can say Ramelech Svart about the Kabbalah. The Kabbalah Satira. Wasn't it the Kiyam Atayra? Meir de Kavart. Wasn't the Kiyam Atayra? Was that we were Makabel? What does Makabel mean? Kabbalah means I want to do, I want to do. Nasav Nishma, I want. That's all you have to do. The next step. Oh, Vayikra Love Hashem. Hashem calls out to you. Now, obviously, it's going to be hard and it's going to be difficult. No one ever said, yeah, I make the Kabbalah. Okay, let's use a simple mashal. Kitzur Yaimi. Okay, 10 minutes. I'm going to learn a few halachas a day. Archel is giving out free kitzurs. Mayur take 10 minutes a day. I have 10 minutes a day. No big deal. Day 1, day 2, day 3, day 20, day 30. I don't have 10 minutes a day anymore. Hashem, why are you not calling out to me? Where's the Vayikra Love Hashem? I'm doing it, God. I went up to the mountain. Yeah. Number one, maybe have a little bit of patience. Or number two, which is what we always say, maybe open up your eyes a little bit. And maybe Hashem did call out to you. And maybe Hashem did speak to you. And maybe if you're honest and you're open, you'll say to yourself, wait, I started learning in Taka, I am a little happier. I feel better. Hey, you know what? Something is going well at the office. Hey, something is going well in the home. And you know what? Maybe I don't even see it. And maybe it's going to take a long time to see it. Vayikra Love Hashem, the Zayir HaKadosh gives us the haftacha that when we make the step from below, Hashem will gather us from the top. So, b'siyata d'shmaya, I think we have an incredible lesson as the precursor to Kabbalah Satira, as the precursor to accept the Torah, and we all know, as we'll speak about, and we always speak about, that the Shabbos of Matan Torah is the Matan Torah anew. This says the Shla HaKadosh that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to give us the Torah this Shabbos. It's going to happen. So we're about to get the Torah. What do we do first? U'Moshe Allah El Ha'Elokim. Before we get the Torah, we got to walk up that mountain on our own. Stop waiting for Hashem. We have to take on the initiative, whatever it is. Obviously, we all know that you take on something too big, it's never going to work. But you take on something small. You take on one little step and you say, you know what? I could do one extra chazara. I could do it. I could do it. I'm going to take on that chazara. You know what? Or I'm going to take that chazara. Yaharik Val Yavar. I'm not going to sleep. Someone told me recently he took on a certain thing. He's not going to sleep before he does it. He said, the man of nights. He said, if you do this for 2 weeks, so the man of nights that he's just pushed sitting in his chair and sleeping. He said, I'm not going to bed. I'm not going to bed. His thing was 2 blot of chazara. He said, I'm not going to bed until I finish my 2 blot. So I said, how's it going? He said, I'm spending a lot of time sleeping in my chair. But you know what? I haven't gone to bed before I finish the chazara. A myriad thing. And you know what? It's true. And maybe some of those chazaras won't be the best. But you know what? He's going to push, and he's going to push, and he's going to push, and he's going to get there. Because when Moshe is Allah El Ha'Elokim, when we push to go up to that mountain, and of course, when one has the Beis Yaakov, when one has, whether it's the wife, whether it's the mother, there with the encouragement, and whether the child or the husband could accept the encouragement. And it's not easy to accept the encouragement, but to accept it, and to embrace it, and make a matzav out of it. And yes, let's celebrate Abba's learning. Let's celebrate Tati's Torah. Let's realize that Daddy's doing something chashiv. Let's celebrate it with the kids. Let's make it something special at home. You put the two together, and what do you ultimately get? You ultimately get Kabbalah Torah. And what comes in the Kabbalah Torah? Well, aside from Kabbalah Torah, we live in a Mesugal world, right? We need to get a school. If it's not a school, it's not work. So Rabbi Yashiv, when the Kabbalah Torah happens, what happens? Every deficiency was healed. Every mum was done. There was no such thing as a lack of perfection when Hashem reveals himself at Kabbalah Torah. So we take that step. We allow Hashem, Vayikra, love Hashem. We'll get to Kabbalah Torah. We'll hear Aneichi v'lo yilecha. Rabbi Yashiv used to say, you should have in mind that the Shas at the time of Matan Torah, of the time of the reading of Aseres Dibros, have in mind, I need this Yeshua, this Refuah Shlema, this Shidduch. Because right now, Hashem is giving us the Torah again. It's real, it's good. But we also have to have the steps before. That's what we're being machadish tonight. We're all going to hear Maimon Har Sinai. We're all going to stand there. Maybe we'll hear the school of Rabbi Yashiv. But we need to step beforehand. We need to go up the mountain. We need to wait for Hashem there. And then hopefully B'siyat Shmaya will be Zeicha to Vayikra, love Hashem. Hashem will call out to us with all the goodness and everything that comes with what Hashem calls out to us. Shkoyach Agut Shabbos.